When a matter of privilege,
Senator Natasha, I'm going to have to come in here. Senator Natasha, I am going to have to come in here. Thank you so much.
Yes, please.
You have more time to explain, but
Senator Natasha, representing Kogi State Central District, Senatorial District, had finally spoken out over the issues between her and the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. You know, the woman have already sued Senate President 100 billion, abi? Yes. Now, the woman, since first time after that incident or many incidents, the woman has finally granted an interview. Bro, this interview, this is direct allegations. These are heavy allegations. Heavy allegations. The reason why you see that altercations at the Senate House that day, brother, according to Natasha, this one is beyond sitting arrangement or sitting order. No, there is something more to that. You need to listen to this. Watch this video to the end. You see these heavy allegations. This one is beyond come to the Senate House and do your job. No. No. In fact, watch this video to the end. And please follow this page for more. Share this. Subscribe to this YouTube channel.
What was the motive behind this? And then finally, is this exclusive to you alone? Or is it just because, I mean, there are many things that have come up because you're a woman, there are only 4 women in the House, you and the Senate President have personal altercations that have now appeared on in the chambers. Is this the privileges being withdrawn from you exclusive to you alone? And why do you think that is?
Now, thank you. Indeed, the Senate President has the right to allocate seats to every senator. And the senator should speak from that allocated seat. But here it is. I was not about to make a debate. Neither was I about to contribute to a motion. I was reading an SOS, which is a lifeline of any senator. For any senator to have invoked Order 10, that means his privileges were already, or her privileges were already infringed upon and denied. And that can be raised anywhere at any time. So once a senator shouts Order 10, believe me, even if I'm being dragged on the floor and I say Order 10, they are supposed to listen to me. Wherever I sit in that place, that's why he said any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and I should be prepared to move same. So in this part, the Senate President, once I raised Order 10, he ought to have allowed me to speak, and then he could have maybe taken his own discretion to overrule it or move that complaint to the Ethics and Privileges Committee. But the Senate President failed to do that. Instead, he ordered that the Sergeant at Arms should move me out of the chambers and prepare for my suspension.
Okay, next question.
Now, you're talking about my outburst. Yes, I did mention that my rights in the Senate there, I have been dehumanized, I have been maligned and all words. And that outburst, I believe that the seat change was just the straw that broke the camel's back. A lot has been going on. And you asked, and just going again, trying to mix up the question.
Yes, that's fine.
Mix with this
so I asked you, you made a statement that you've been maligned, you are not afraid of the Senate President, and that I asked if this was exclusive to you alone or if this is a particular trend.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to explain that.
Yes.
Yes, so many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth. And the Senate President is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first, we were at Ikot Ekpene. We were in his house in Ikot Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just 3 of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from. I was like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, do you like my house? I said, of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste. He said, now that you're a senator, I'm going to create time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it. At that point, I just pulled away and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me. And the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate President too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate President now said, oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel. He has a chapel in his house as well. So while we were going to the chapel, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate President's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 points in Ikotekpene. And my husband asked me, Natasha, what did the Senate President whisper to you? What's he telling you? I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap it as if there was nothing? Because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate President. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I lay to my right, and my husband wrapped his arms around me, and he said, my love, you know you can't tell me anything. What did the Senate President tell you? Again, I was like, don't you believe me? I said, nothing. Nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy. Then my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone, and I should not go to the Senate President's house, because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, after office to get approvals and all that. So I told him, okay, no problems. That was it. I thought that was going to be the end. But then, in February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of the corrupt practice in Ajaokuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. Each time the motion is listed, just before he takes it, he will say, oh, Senator Natasha, we can't take this motion because the board of the Senate does not accommodate it. Or he will speak on others and then let it drag so that just before my motion is taken, the time will be well spent. So he kept on doing that. I went to him in his office. And I said, Senate President, you know how important this Ajaokuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he would take it. I was like, sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed. Then it was listed the 3rd time I stepped down. He then said, Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me and make me happy. At that point, I said, sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this. He said, well, the ball is in your court. I left his office, and when I got home, I told my husband, I didn't tell my husband what happened. I just told my husband, please, can you speak to the Senate President to allow my motion scale through? I think I also spoke to the DSP, to the leader, Senator Pemi. I spoke to a number of senators that they should please intervene and allow him to laugh. I never told them what happened. My husband had to take a trip to London. Then the Senate President traveled to London. My husband met with the Senate President in London and pleaded with him, let my wife take this motion on Ajaokuta. That is very important to her.
Okay. All right, Senator Natasha.
Said, okay, that he did not take it because he was protecting me. Hold on, please. He didn't take it because he was protecting me. Protecting me from what? Anyway, at the time my demotion was taken, it was the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Barao, that actually sat. The Senate President stood up and walked out. So it was Senator Barao that actually took it.
All right, Senator Natasha.
And from there,
Natasha.
Many other incidents happened.
Yes, Senator
let's
Natasha.
talk about the nightclub.
Yes.
Hold on, let's talk about the nightclub incident.
Professor Kila is going to ask you a question. I'm so sorry to have to interject here. But I just want to mention that, and I'm glad you gave the caveat at the beginning of your statement, that this is your side of the story, and the Senate President has a right to defend himself or to counter what happened between you privately. So what I assume, or for what you're saying, is that what happened last week Thursday began from a private conversation, and then you have felt like you've been maligned as a result of you not agreeing to certain propositions, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what
has happened?
Yeah,
you know
so
the story of when a student keeps being failed.
Yes.
Please, let me say this, Ayo. You know the situation we see in universities whereby a student is continuously being failed just because she has not slept with the lecturer. That's what I've been facing, in simple terms.
Thank you. Professor Kila.
That is what I have been going through.
Thank you very much,
and
Professor Kila.
Now, moving to, should I speak about the nightclub incident?
No, that's okay. Professor Kila will come in now. Thank you.
Don't do that. It's barely time to come in because you've just indicted the lecturer indirectly. And I'm coming to ask you a question. Senator, it is from your side of the story, it is clear there's a lot of undercurrent and personal issues that had led to the, should we call it the outburst on the allocation of chair thing. There's a lot going on, and you've made a series of allegations which indicts the Senate President morally, if not criminally, at least, and there's indictment of abuse of power, because if he's refusing you to do your duty for personal reasons, we need to see if he has the right to do that. But let me ask you a question, just to simplify. This idea of your seat was reallocated and you don't want to use it. What's in a seat? Why was it so important for you not to just move, as you've been told to do so, and deal with it later? What's the importance of saying no to that seat allocation?
Thank you so much, Professor Killer. Sitting arrangements in the National Assembly or in the chambers is very critical. That is why at the forefront, we have the leadership. And after them, we have ranking senators, second-timers, third-timers sitting there. And the nearer you are to the Senate president, the more visible you are. So you're able to interface with the daily activities, and then you have more visualized, the cameras capture you more. You're more present as against being a backbencher. So where I am sitting, the Senate president sits at the lowest point, while I am sitting at the topmost point, but on the same level.
So, Senator, Senator, I'll recap for you.
So whenever I stand,
it is safe to say that
where I was moved to, was
you felt they were reducing you.
Where the workers, the chamber staff sit.
So you felt they were relegating you. They were relegating you.
If they say, hold on, exactly. Let me say this. His excuse that it's because there were 2 vacant seats due to the decamping of the senators, right?
Yes.
And that why did they have to pick on me to start the shift? There were other senators that were in front of me that would have filled the seat. Why did it have to be me to fill in the seat at the far corner? But I will say this again. If you see where I sit at the back, there is a silent degrading of senators that, as I say, came from court. We are made to feel as if we are lower than our other colleagues that resumed office and were sworn in earlier than us, even though we're all first-timers. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I remember when I asked, initially, I asked why I was not sitting amongst my other first-time colleagues. And I was told that is because you resumed 6 months later. So it's almost like a punishment because I resumed 6 months later. Therefore, I have to sit or take seats or wait for my other colleagues whom we all ran elections with together and won together, even though we were rigged.
So Senator,
we were made to sit at the back. So after me,
it seems clear to me.
Senator Akobonu, who came 2 weeks after me.
So it seems to me from your own narrative, straight from your own narrative, that you feel victimized and you feel you're being treated like a second-class senator in that place. Let me ask you a question based on your narrative.
I have a very important...
No, but very quickly, you're going to say, let me just ask you just this question. Yes, just this very question. Do you feel that other senators in that house, male or female or different party, do you feel that they're standing up to what they ought to be doing, or do you feel they're also, with their silence, complicit with your victimization? I want you to judge the whole Senate, 109 men and women.
No.
Okay. You don't feel they're complicit, and you don't want to...
Now, here it is. I have enjoyed tremendous support from my colleagues. And the fact that a number of my colleagues have not spoken out publicly in my defense or criticized what has happened does not mean that they do not visit me privately at home or they do not call on me to give me words of encouragement. Why they are yet to come up openly and criticize the activities of the Senate President, probably that's best known to them. However, one question I have been asked a number of times is, why are the women silent? Why are the 3 other women silent?
Yes, so why, Senator? Why do you think they're silent?
The day I filed the suit of defamation, the suit that sexualized, whereby the Senate President's SLA on new media, Mr. Patrick Mfong, sexualized me by addressing my attire as being transparent, and that the only thing I know how to do is to wear pancake to the chambers. So when I filed that suit, Senator Ireti Kingibe, hold on, Senator Ireti Kingibe, Senator
Natasha,
and Senator
we're low on time,
3 women who send messages to me that they do not support the litigation. And none of them have called, apart from Senator Ireti, that called my husband to tell me to withdraw that suit and all that. And my husband charged her that you were the same person who had come to the house to tell him that the SD was hitting on his wife sexually. So why are you now against my wife, standing up for her rights? So let me tell you something, Mr. which nobody knows. No, Mr. Rufai, please allow me to say this, please.
Please go ahead.
Can I say this?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Senator. Please go ahead.
Now, at the nightclub incident, I believe that was not a slip of tongue. That was not a slip of tongue. He has a number of times told me that there are various ways we can have fun. If we travel, he has a way of making the whole house, the space. He can basically create a party in the space. Do you understand? Like a nightclub in the space and would have fun and all of that. So that nightclub incident statement was not a mistake. It was more like out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. But let me say this. The day before please, Rufai, let me land.
Go ahead.
Let me speak, please.
Please go ahead. If you
don't want me to speak, I'll walk out and complete this on my Facebook, please.
Please go ahead. We're trying to manage time, Senator, but go ahead and finish it quickly. We're trying to manage time, but please go ahead.
The night, or should I say that morning, early hours of the morning that he apologized, which was 23rd of July, 2024. That was the morning he apologized. So the night about, I have it printed here, I have the screenshots of the phone call. It was 40 minutes past midnight when my phone rang. The leader of the House called me, Senator Michael Bamidele Opeyemi called me, and he said, Senator, how are you? I said, I'm fine. He said, in the wake of all of this rancor, if the Senate President goes down, I will go down too. And I said, what do you mean, sir? At that point, I woke my husband up because he had fallen asleep before me. I said, are you calling me to threaten me? I could hear murmurs from the Senate President. I could hear the Senate President's voice at the background because I could tell it was on speakerphone. He said, no, I'm just telling you that, there's a whole lot of attack on the Senate President, and if things go down, if he resigns or something happens, I should know that I'm going to be held responsible, and I also go down. At that point, I started shouting. I was like, you can't call me at midnight and threaten me, sir. You can't do this. And mind you, I was actually surprised because the leader of the House is someone I respect greatly. He's a very good friend. He's a very calm person. And I believe, I'm saying it, that if he actually made those statements, he probably was told to do so. So I dropped the line. And then I dropped the line. The first conversation was just 2 minutes, 33 seconds. Then my phone rang again at 26 minutes past midnight that same day. And then it was the same call, Senator Opeyemi's line, but then it was the Senate President's voice. He said, Princess of the Senate. That's how he calls me casually. I've been attacked. My wife has not slept for days. She's been crying. She's received lots of insults. All because of you. I said, no, sir, it's not because of me. It's because of you. I didn't force you to order that statement. And I did not call on the support I received from Nigerian women. So don't blame it on me. He said, no, he's telling me this because the Dane of Agbo, I think he's a king in Agbo in Delta State. So the Dane of Agbo spoke with him and told him that that's the Senate President, was the most hated politician in Nigeria at that point. Mind you, that was a few days to the protest. There was this end bad governance protest on the 1st of August, and this incident happened like a week before. So he said the Dane of Agbo told him, Mr. Senate President, your rating is all low. You're one of the worst. You're one of the most hated politicians now. So I would advise. He said the Dane of Agbo advised the Senate President to leave Abuja because if he is caught in the middle of the protest, he could be attacked by the Nigerians. I said, so why are you telling me this, sir? He said he's telling me because he found it insulting that the Dane of Agbo would tell him to run away, to leave Abuja. And that he's telling me, so Natasha, I'm telling you, go and tell them that if anybody over the age of 20 approaches me during the protest, I will what is the word? Hold on. I will take that person down. The Senate President told me over the phone that based on the advice that the Dane of Agbo gave him, that he should leave Abuja in the wake of the protest so that he will not be caught and probably will not be approached or attacked by the youth. He said, Natasha, I have the capacity. I'm number 3 citizen. If anybody over the age of 20 dares to confront me, I will take that person down. That person should dare me with his life. I said, at that point, I started shouting. I now told my husband, he didn't know the phone was on speakerphone all the while because I'd woken my husband up from the first speech. I was like, my love, can you hear what he's telling me? This is exactly what he does. At that point, when he knew, he was like, is your husband there? I said, yes, sir, my husband is here. And he heard everything. He then told me to pass the phone to my husband. And you know what he said? Immediately, he changed his tone. He was like, oh, Alema, I have a slot for you for an appointment from Delta State. Why don't you bring a nominee? And I took the phone back. I shouted at the Senate President. I said, you can't pacify us. You can't threaten me on one side and then pacify me. Sir, I'm aware, even though the conversations took place on via WhatsApp, I know that the DSS and the NSA's office, they have the tools to extract these phone calls. And I'm going to publish yes, sir.
Okay, Senator Natasha, thank you.
So and he told me that, well, all you want, hold on, please. He then told me that, Oshay, all I want is an apology. He would apologize on the floor that morning and that he expects me to accept it. So all that morning, when I walked in, I was already threatened. I was already petrified. This is a man who had already called me at midnight, so I didn't sleep all night. I just had to say to his seamless apology.
Senator Natasha Akpoti, thank you so much for being here. He who alleges must prove. I'm sure you have all your proof because they are on the other side are also going to demand all of it, and you have to put it out there. So thank you so much for your time.
How far you see? These are direct allegations. It's like this woman has taken a shakabula to shoot Godswill Akpabio. Heavy allegations. I know definitely Akpabio will come out and defend himself. He who alleges must prove. Do you understand? So they have right to respond to her. Definitely they are going to deny, but I tell you, even without Natasha, without her saying all of this, some, let me say 20% of Nigerians have already saying that. Because on the videos you have been seeing concerning this, that's what the comment you see is because of that. That because Natasha did not accept her, accept Gosi Akpabio, because that one, that rumors has already been on that ground, has been going on. It's just that you are not heard from the horse's mouth. Now you have heard from the horse's mouth. Yes, some Nigerians will still believe in what she's saying, while some will say is a lie. She's just trying to bring Goswi, Senate president, down, or just to terminate his image. You and I know this is what goes on the ground. This is what most of them, this is what they do. But we need to understand, we need to know something. If as a Senate president, if this is also allowed part of your job, come on now, these people, I'm not supporting anybody here, but the right thing should be said, should be done at the right time. Now, this woman you have, this is a direct gun, because direct heavy allegations, the third man in the country. Do you understand? And like I said, a lot of people are already aware that this is what is happening. This is the reason. Do you understand? No, even you could. The statement from Senate president, not those statements now. You understand? You also have something. I know they will come and deny you. They have right to respond to them. Now, the court will surely tell, but hey, this woman, will she win this case or something? No, but the third man in the court, no. Far from it. APC, no. Far from it. Anyways, we are going to see the end of this. They would surely come and respond. If not Senate president by himself, maybe we send somebody to respond. What do you think? Please leave your comment and share this video. If you think she's saying the truth, comment. If you think it just defamation, this is just defamation of characters, or defaming a Goswi Akpabio or something, just want to bring it down, leave your comment. And please don't forget to share this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.